on the surface of glass. This is a glass tube that is, sorry, one second. It's made of borosilicate glass. This tube is probably a centimeter in diameter and about 3 inches high, or like 9 centimeters high, roughly. And if you look at the top here, there's a wire that just comes in about just a little bit here into the top of the glass tube. That is the anode. And if you look here at the bottom, it looks like it's in kind of like a frying pan or something. This is a stainless steel plate, or basically stainless steel bowl. And I'll put in like a millimeter of water in here. And I kind of use water to accelerate the heating process, because once the glass is heated to a certain temperature, and then at that point, the glass is connected in a way basically to the cathode and to the anode, and the water is ignored. And I'll show you here when the water is ignored, because the glass is now just basically acting like a resistor, if you will. If you were to connect, let's say, a battery, the top would be positive, the bottom will be negative, and then, oh boy, how is my analogy working here? Sorry, that didn't make sense. So I'm going to start this video. Let's see here. Where is it? Here we go.
While you do that real quick, I want to thank Darren for 5 Old Man Builds memberships, dude. You're rocking it out today, brother. And I want to say hi to Bernie, man. He's over there on a bus on his way to Las Vegas.
Awesome. What's up, Bernie?
Hey, Bernie. All right. So here we go. So I'm applying 60,000 volts. And the first color you see here is bluish purple, and that's just associated with the density of the plasma. So you would say this is a low density plasma when it's blue. As it turns into this bright orange color, as you're seeing here, that's just a more denser plasma. So it's getting thicker, if you will, and then watch for it. It's going to kind of bury itself in the water below. It's the optical effect. If you look at the top, you'll start seeing a white ball, and it has the characteristics of a RAV. You can see it's spherical. It likes to move around, and this glass here sort of takes this beautiful color here. Let me see if we go back to that. There we go. The glass takes this beautiful color, and it's basically because of how bright the RAV is. But at this point here, the glass now is like connected to the plate and to the wire. This little bit of bubbling here isn't boiling, it's electrolysis. So you know if you've connected a battery to water, and you'll see it bubble up if you put both the cathode and the anode into the water. So that's the action that's going on here. It's just not hot enough down here to boil the water, but running 60,000 volts and about 10 milliamps through this water, you're going to get some electrolysis. Just basically the water molecules are separating into 2 oxygen molecules and 1 hydrogen molecule. Atoms. And if you look at the top here at the RAV, you'll see that it's left some markings in the glass. And we're going to talk a lot more about these markings here. But what the RAV is basically doing is it's slightly melting the glass, and it's pushing it to the outside and creating little bubbles as it goes across the glass. And the geometric shapes here, I'm going to put under a microscope and share those with you here shortly. But I wanted to show you this because this is the core variables in all my glass experiments that I'm going to share with you. So if I share with you a glass ball or a sphere of glass, it's going to be the same principle. You're going to have the anode on the top, you have the cathode on the bottom. We're going to have water. We may not have water, but it's always going to be 60,000 volts. It's always going to be in this stainless steel pan. And so this was important for me to just get started. And so I'm looking forward to what Nathan and Joe have to say about it. Let's see here.
Go ahead and run it.
Yeah, let's run it back. I had a couple of interesting thoughts the first time you played it.
I'm going to run it back. Okay.
Yeah, run it back.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yep.
Mhm.
Awesome. Very pretty. Just beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's remarkable. That's super cool. Okay. Okay.
So, Shawn, in this, would you say that the glass has now become conductive at this point?
Yeah. When I researched that the glass is become conductive, it just seems like there's a lot of scientific terms around it. It's like they dance around it, saying, "Well, you know, the glass just now exists without the water, and you just have the cathode glass and anode." They'll talk about words like saturation of the glass. But yeah, so I'm just kind of sharing with you what I found in my research.
So I love that you said that because that was initially my thought on it was that it's not conductive in a traditional sense. If anything, it's more semi-conductive, and the way that it's doing it in that case is through saturation. So
Yeah,
even if it's not moving a current through it, right? Its molecular structure is able to hold a certain capacitance, right?
yeah,
And once that glass gets charged up to that capacitance, all of a sudden now you have energy exchange over the charged substrate of the the saturated material, allowing some pathway of energy exchange to occur. And that's sort of again, more specifically, and accurately sort of what's happening. Um, I am just fascinated and have been with the hydrogen plasma flares that are occurring because they definitely look like flames without a
yeah,
doubt. And we know that, okay, fine. Fire is plasma, right?
right.
But the thing is that fire and plasma, I mean, it's even though the color is similar, right, to that orange and yellow, um, which you're attributing to density, and I don't disagree with that necessarily, right?
Yeah,
The thing is that it's not acting like a hydrogen fire would, as far as it's generally in a really large state of expanse. So anytime that you would flame up hydrogen, you'd have an explosive event, a large expansion that would occur. And I think that it's pretty clear that that's void here. Like once again, it also looks like it's building out multiple spires of that plasma.
yeah,
And I wasn't able to really tell how many, or if that was just the effect of the reflection of the glass. But
yeah,
there was at one point in time there appeared to be like 5 or 6 spires of the plasma, and
yeah.
that was just before it was stabilizing. Um, and the last thing that I observed that I thought was probably the most, maybe the least visually impressive, but
Mm.
probably the most significant, if I had to kind of guess, is the motion of the RAV itself. We had discussed before about forming a RAV not top and bottom like that, right? Like forming it on the side. So here it's forming it on the side. Well, it's spinning, forming it on the side, and it's got that rotation to it.
Yeah.
And that rotation to it, shows that it's got this particular movement pattern that's occurring. I think that that's significant. It's etching the glass as it goes, right? And it seems to be, deviating off, and then finding its way back to that path, which makes sense because that path is structured, right? So that's what we know after it runs over a certain portion. We know that it structures it the way that is able to uh, support. That's the best word. In order to support the what the RAV is, which is ultimately both parts of the energy combining into sheath layers and in a form of energy exchange, between it. So you have both components in the RAV. And in this case, because it's so close to the anode, it just goes to show how anodically biased, this particular configuration is.
Yeah. No, it makes sense to me.
Hold on. What's going on is you guys have hydrolysis, or sorry, I said the word wrong. Basically, you're getting the gas coming up. You're getting hydrogen gas coming up. Hydrogen gas being excited, so you're getting a flame. But the glass itself acts like a single cathode to two anodes in the way that it works, like a double RAV experiment. One's being shut out by the water and it's not able to fully form, while the other one does. It's no different than the plate on the bottom. If you put one plate and two pieces of clay on top, it'll start both up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you see the bottom continuously trying to form, can't, just ignites all the gas coming out of it.
Yes.
And so what the interesting implication is here, by the way, Shawn, is that this is the way to see the other side of the reaction fairly well, because that's generally the difficulty, is that it's either going on in the membrane, if you want to call it that. That's what I've called it from the beginning. The interactive surface, and the interactive surface is never generally transparent. And then because there's such a distance between the anode and where the cathode is, and you could see the entire thing. These sorts of events are definitely happening every time a RAV is formed on the other side. You just don't get to see it.
Yeah. And I'd run the experiments to see if I can create multiple anode RAVs, and I just figured it out yesterday, so I hope to find that video. And I'm talking about anode RAVs, and there was a reason behind it, but I can share that later. So guys, thank you for the input. I think it's good stuff, helpful. I'm going to see if I can find the next video. Let's see here. See, sorry guys.
Hold on real quick, guys. Is my mic better out there now?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your mic sounds good.
All right. There's something going on with the program that does it. It keeps unlocking and changing every time that I get on live. So
I want to. All right.
I have to get some help later with that.
So if you guys remember, see, it's not sharing. Let's get it back on. Let's do it. Okay. If you guys can see this. Not the clearest, but gives you an idea. Can you guys see this okay?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Awesome. So when you're watching the RAV, what it did was it starts making these what I call labyrinth like. It's labyrinth like because when it's without this middle part, you can actually go through it like a maze. It's pretty fascinating. The what forms this outer part here, the best I found has to do with instabilities. Laplacian instabilities. So if you look at Laplacian instabilities, you'll start to see that these are patterns that are similar. So these are Laplacian instabilities, and then there's a fancy word interfacial instabilities, and all that means is that it's on the face of the glass. So Laplacian interfacial fascial instability. I'll say that 3 times. Now, when you saw the RAV, you noticed that it would go out and start to create some of these outer little maze-like uh, sections. Then it would go to the middle, and then it comes back out, makes some more, and then goes back into the middle. And you kind of saw that action. And what it will do is, if I leave it, it will just build the whole area out, but keep going to the middle. And in the middle is a different I guess, forces or actions that create a different structure. Um, and so, what I found again in my research, this was called advective aggregate instability. Advective talks about how there's a kind of like a fluid dynamics. I guess a simple way to say it would be, you can't see it here, and I'll probably find one here in a little bit, but under the microscope, this center area here are just a lot of little glass tornadoes. That's what they look like. And when you say the advective uh, aggregate instability, what it's saying is that the RAV is a spinning object, and as the glass is being heated to its melting point, the moving spinning object makes all these little glass looks like a spinning object formed the glass, and that's why you're seeing these stuff here as in pores. I really wish I had a better one here. Let's see if I can find one.
Yeah. So while you're doing that, Sean, so what is interesting to me and what I propose, this is just an idea, right?
Mhm.
Is that the reason that it does the whole search around the perimeter and does that and then returns to the center has to do exactly with um, what the RAV does in the first place. It's the heart of the energy exchange that's occurring between the anode and the cathode.
Hmm.
And that requires for that exchange to occur, being that it's not on a conductive surface or prepped surface, so to speak, right?
Hmm.
You as it moves around, it's picking up all the electrons, okay, that are in the saturation of the surface of the glass. It's moving along to continue picking them up because it just picked it up from there. Now it's got to go there. It's just always following where that density is the most available. But the thing is that as it goes through that path, it's resaturating the area that it's already depleted because the area that it's already depleted has already been established as coherent by the rack, and that then has regained its energy density level and saturation level. It
Hmm.
then its biggest pull is right back to where it came from to take it from there because that's where the greatest accumulation is and the greatest coherence, the least resistance.
Hmm.
Right? So, and we know that to be true from the clay and how the clay formed the channel, and how if you went to go start a RAV up on the clay on the channel, it would
Hmm.
just start up almost immediately because it
Yeah.
was already established and
Yeah.
because there is, in that case, a direct cathodic feed.
Mm.
So this is a little different, but the concept remains the same, right?
Yeah. That's an interesting parallel. Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah. It's I've seen the RAV start in the middle of one of these, and it does kick off faster, like you said, just like the clay, where it makes these sort of channels where it's conducive, or it's easier for the RAV to get into action and form.
Right. It's conditioned is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So it's already conditioned in the way that it is coherent. And it's going to have a bias toward that every single time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it looks like it runs a pattern in the center, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it reruns it. So as it first starts to swirl the actual glass, it melts it,
Mm-hmm.
swirls it, and then comes back over and swirls it again. So you get like a double vortex growing on it on some of them, and then on the other ones it just looks like a flat surface peeling it out like a worm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just goes where it wants to go and jumps around a little bit. Whatever the easiest way for electricity to get to it to meet it is where it goes. It's
That
usually the way it works.
Exactly. That's the point. That's why it'll build out that perimeter. But then as soon as it gets saturated again in that center, that's where the resistance is the least for it and the density is the highest. So it returns there. And not to mention, if it's making spiral channels, right, in the molecular structure of the glass itself,
Mm-hmm.
those could well be acting as you know, sort of energy chambers to a certain degree, where like that little swirl could potentially actually be inducing inducing the potential for saturation into small events of like current or some kind of motion is the point, right? So rather than it just being still and saturated, it could actually be holding more and holding it possibly in a rotation. Sort of like a what do you call it? A CME effect, sort of. Where you have a chamber and it's a resonant effect where it is just spiraling around into that chamber.
Yeah. The paths here in the maze-like structures are made out of purely bubbles, and the larger bubbles are on the inside of the path. On the outside of the path, the bubbles get smaller and smaller until they if you look over here to the right, you'll start to see this little haze here because the bubbles are just so tiny. These bubbles, I thought they might have gas in them. I was hoping like maybe a light vacuum because the heat would push out the air and then seal it, kind of like we do with canning. But I put this under a black light laser. I tried to put it next to a Tesla coil, see if it could excite the gas in here. And basically, yeah, these bubbles are just probably plain air and not
Well,
anything exciting about them.
Sean, they may either be artifacts or potentially even um, cells, like holding cells for plasmoids, because that's what plasmoids tend to do. Is they get into the material, they create a cavity, and then they hang out there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Wow. Nathan?
No, I'm there with you guys. I just stick with the first thing I said, man. I think it just builds out.
Okay,
I don't know. Yeah, you're definitely creating air pockets in there, though. Somehow you're sealing air pockets. Yeah.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, Nathan. It's possible that it's not really air pockets. It's just actually a literal cavitative effect, like
Oh, like a
of
little cavity.
yeah, it's swirling, and as it's swirling, it's creating a cavitation event. And because it's in a different medium, because there's a phase change,
Oh,
right?
so hold on. So
In
hold
a
on.
liquid, right?
So we're dealing with something with like just like you preset the cathode, is what you're getting the reaction right there. It's the same thing. You're creating your cavity that has frequency in it, and it's doing the same thing in the glass.
Right, it's cavitating in the glass. It's basically breaking off different like plasmoids, I would think. And again, this is just a theory. We're breaking off basically plasmoids as the phase change occurs, because the phase change occurs and it's in a state of cavitation. It's opening up that bubble. It's highly viscous, so it's not necessarily moving quickly to the top. And then as soon as it moves away, it instantly solidifies, trapping it in place. That's very, very possible, and makes more sense than it stirring air in where air wasn't. The
Right.
only other thing is that there's micro pockets of air in the glass to begin with, and then the heat of the RAV itself is expanding the air, trapping
There
the
you
air,
go. That's
which
true
is
too.
another. So there's a lot of different things that could be happening.
Like that's formed from where the water is, so that's potentially electrolysis hydrogen that's forming.
On the bottom, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The
That's what we
bubbling
thought.
water.
Yep, and that could be too. Yeah. Up
Yeah,
on
that's what we're
top,
saying.
though, I mean that's kind of proof of concept of the jar to jar, isn't it? Because that's how else is it riding up? That means that the hydrogen is moving through the glass structure, is what that means. It's getting trapped under the surface.
Right, and then what sort of compounds the hydrogen's then solidifying into?
Mm. Good question.
That's what we need a mass spectrometer for. So if anyone wants to donate us a mass spectrometer, please do so. That'd be
Sean
awesome.
has one.
I have
Oh.
one. Yeah.
Well, then why are we speculating, Sean? Come on. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, it's funny. No, it's cool. I have to build a dark room, and I have to construct it where nothing gets in, and then the spectrometer will get the accurate readings. And I just haven't got to that part. It's kind of a little bit of a construction project or crafting project. I've tried to do it without having the room with the right amount of light, basically no light other than the RAV. And yeah, I need to do that formally. So
Well, Sean, rather than a dark room, why not just a dark box? That's a bit easier.
that's what I meant. A dark, like a
Yeah.
container. Yeah, like
Always works best.
yeah.
I speak from
Something.
emulsioning silk screen.
Yeah. So, can you guys see my screen?
No.
Hang on just a minute. I'll put it back up.
There we go.
So I input tons of data into AI, and then I have it spit it back at me and summarize, and I poke holes in its theories, or we go back and forth. And so this is what AI came up with as a final. So some of this I've already said, but I thought I'd kind of show you here as a slide. When the plasma is blue, it's ionized air and water vapor. Electron energy is moderate. Water cathode is resistive. Breakdown in vapor above the plate. Glass tube is still electrically cold, and then it has a glow to arc transition. And then you get this orange color, as we saw, which is sodium, calcium, iron ions. You theorized this, Joe, that it was less hydrogen and more of the minerals in causing this color. So you nailed it, spot on. I just bring that out. Now that doesn't say there's no plasma or no hydrogen action, but AI seems to think that it's more related to the tap water, and this is what's in the tap water that's giving this color spectrum. It's a hotter plasma. It increases current density. Boiling water at the cathode. The boiling water I don't buy because I've taken temperature readings, but maybe AI is just smarter than me. And it has an iron-rich vapor emission in the field intensifies at the edges. And then 3, boom, we get the RAV. It's an intense white plasma. It has a electron density dominant, a broadband radiation, which makes sense because all of the light spectrums are hitting at once, making it white. It has a rotating confined RAV. It says it's iron-rich vapor emission and water no longer relevant. That's what surprised me. That's what we talked about earlier, where once the glass gets to that place and the RAV forms, yeah, it's just the cathode, the glass tube, and the anode. Nothing else exists, at least from a physics standpoint. So then we talked about the Laplacian interfacial stability. So it's a field-driven surface heating with electric stress gradients, branching Fermi-like patterns, no bulk flow yet, static instability effects. So this doesn't. I put in so much data to try to get AI to get this right, but look, it didn't. But this is supposed to look like the photo that I just showed you. That's the photo that I showed you on the outskirts. You look like a fried egg shape. The outskirts is the Laplacian interfacial stability, and then the middle part where we talked about how to it had all of those little glass tornadoes it made. Glass melts and flows, shear and circulation, bubbles and vortices, layered aggregation, and directional flow bands. And then finally, it put this little key mystery section, but I just thought it was kind of cool. AI thought of it itself after inputting a ton of data. So the RAV couples directly to the glass. Glass is now the resistor. Cathode water is bypassed. Current reroutes through the glass. And then the water plate looks dead. I have no idea what that means. So AI is not 100%, but this is what the AI spit out. And I think a lot of it here is true. But I'm very interested in what you guys think. Joe, Nathan?
Yeah, Nathan, why don't you go ahead and say your piece? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like number, was it 4? The way it looks? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's
I'm
wrong.
there with you on that one.
Yeah.
I think they're getting closer on how it works. I think a little bit off. You know what I mean? Because we're seeing something that they're trying to describe in a plasmoid. You know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
it's like Nathan said, like this isn't entirely wrong, I don't think. But
No, but it's
yeah, but
slightly off.
it is off, yeah, and obviously it got the picture wrong on 4, but that's besides the point. That actually looks like the dendritic snow that you get in other configurations, but
Yeah.
to
Talk
digress.
about later. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the first phase is the same phase that RAV always goes through. The initial plasma with the air that's in there that's created by the anode, it's going to start bolstering in saturation and start, a cathodic pull and feed. And the density levels are high enough with the anode that it'll actually fill up the tube to make that initial connection happen. And once the exchange starts between the anode and the cathode, in the dead space of the tube, if you want to call it that, because it's not air anymore, right? It's plasma at that point. The energy density is able to increase and create the glass saturation. And it's at that point that that phase trickles out, and that's when you start to see the anode plasma recede from the water line, recede up, goes into like flickering flame events before the RAV just like ultimately forms up right by the anode because the saturation levels are high enough at that point. That's sort of what I'm seeing in it. So it's not wrong. And I agree, by the way, and thank you for recalling that I said that about the minerals in the water. Um,
Yeah.
That's definitely a factor with the color and stuff. Um, all the minerals that are in the water and that they mentioned, they probably hit on the head. I mean, the truth is that they ionize very easily.
Yeah.
So,
Sean, can you zoom in on that?
Which
Will it
one?
let you? There
Sorry,
you
I
go.
just wanted to say hi and bye. I was hoping I could hear better and talk better from the bus, but I can't. So I'll just watch and then I'll rejoin here at the end or something if I got something to say. Love you guys and awesome
Yeah.
work as always, Sean.
Much love, brother.
right on, Bernie. Safe travels, man.
Right on,
Appreciate
Bernie.
it. Thank you.
Is this good, Nathan? You want me to go closer?
No, it's good. I couldn't read it the first time.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. So oh no, you went too far. Right there's good. I'm just reading the first one.
Okay.
Let's see. Ionized air and water. So yeah, you have ionization in the air. That's for sure. Electron energy is moderate. Yes, it's. We don't have a lot of amperage in that. That's for sure. Cathode is restrictive. Yes. Actually, it's more active now than it will be. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. It might be restrictive because they say that you put more energy when you have current with it. Okay. Breakdown in vapor. Let's see. The tube is electrically cold. Glow and acid. Okay, that one works. See, sodium ions, hotter plasma, boiling. It's not boiling the water.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
that's not true at all. Ion-rich vapor emissions. Yeah, it seems like you're getting some ionization in there, but you're not boiling water. It's splitting the because of it has ionization in water. It's going to split the air from the hydrogen from the oxygen is what it's going to do, and you're going to get the bubbles coming up of hydrogen, and that's what's setting on fire. So yeah, we know that one's just a hair off. Okay,
Yeah.
The white RAV, intense plasma, electron density, yes. Let's see, broadband radiation. I don't know that radiation is going too far out on that thing. And I'll just say that because it seems like it's sealed in more than it is out for sure. Rotating confirmed, yeah, it's hitting a rotational state. Rich ion vapor, water, no longer relevant. That's absolutely true. So yeah, once the RAV starts, you don't need anything. It'll run without. I've seen that thing run all day long without anything.
Yeah.
Stress gradients, patterns. I wish they got number 4 right. I can see why you get upset with that one.
Yeah, well, you know what? We could run that through, Photoshop and fix whatever needs to be fixed. You know what I mean?
Huh.
I literally created this right before the show, so I can definitely have AI fix it. So, and then I'll send you guys an updated one.
Yeah, scroll down a little bit so I can see 5 and 6. I'm curious in the flowchart where they're going. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
right there, once you get to the yellow state, right, there should be a RAV form. So it shouldn't be, I want to say this. It'll go from yellow with a white interior, and then it'll go pure white at certain points, right? But generally, it likes to go back to yellow on the outside. So that's where number 4 should be.
Actually, Nathan, it's actually the flip side. Because that configuration, if you notice, it had a wire in it. If I take that wire out, then the cathode orange energy disappears. So in a lot of
Does it really?
yep, it stays away. But you're totally right on the configuration here, and it has to do with you'll notice, and I put a cathode wire inside the tube.
Also, the part that says that the cathode water is bypassed, that's largely incorrect too, because that's just acting as the saturation pool that has a much higher cathodic saturation potential than the glass itself. It's just a separate intermediate for the feed.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, I mean, the fact that you're able to get it out of AI just even this far is definitely an improvement of the AI. And for what it's worth, the other day when we put the first episode of Plasma Unleashed up, which, by the way, thank you everybody for your support on that video. More to come. They have an AI function now where you could actually have AI summarize the video, and then you could ask it questions about the video. And out of sheer curiosity, I asked it. I said, "Well, what's the legitimacy of the claims being made?" In? They said, "Well, it's not known to current science, but what they showed in the video seems to correlate with what they were saying is occurring." It's like, yes, thank you. So it's giving us a nod, even though it's not finding the data to support it.
And I put in hours of specs and experiment results, and so I'm almost training AI. So this is what surprised me because it's about 70% right, and I appreciate your guys' input. Even going line by line, you Nathan, that's was helpful too. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be as accurate as I can for you because AI likes to see, like I said, they're trying to observe something that happens in a vacuum, and it's hard because this is not in a vacuum, so it reacts a little bit different.
That's why I work so hard to train it, because you have to train it and then you have to babysit it. So
Yes.
you are
You
spot on.
did.
So let's talk a little bit more about the little maze, the mazes that are around the surround the trail. It leaves the trail, and this one's not it. I'm looking around here, but I wanted to also share now that there's a resemblance of these labyrinth shapes um, to the sister of the Mandelbrot set, the Julia set. And all credit to Brent Jarvis, because I shared these photos with him a long time ago, right when I took them. And he said, "Oh, those are Julia sets." And so I Googled Julia sets, and I thought, what? There's a similarity. So there's a similarity, but the Julia set math has nothing to do with the Laplacian, oh my goodness, Laplacian interfactorial instability. But they're just, I want to say correlations, similarities. So it's worth pointing out that there's similarities. I'm going to see if you guys can see this one. Let's see here.
Yeah, shout out Jar Jar out there, man. We haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, it's been at least a month or two since he's popped in.
Yeah, he has health issues with in the family, and he's taking care of a lot of things like that. So he's doing well. He's just super busy with that. But as you'll look at these are all Julia set fractals. You'll see some similarities as it relates to what you saw, and this one is one of the ones that I wanted to share with you. Now, these are all 3D or three-dimensional Julia sets. That's important to note because we're going to be looking at fourth dimensional Julia sets here in a little bit. But this was one that I thought I would share. I actually have a better one here coming up, but I love Nathan and Joe's input before I change the slide.
On the Julia set themselves and how they form?
No, just how they correlate to the RAV forming on the glass and how they're similar.
Yeah.
Some similarities.
I mean, there is because of the vortices that are formed. And Julius sets form off of vortices. So they're fractals, but they're fractals that are dependent on, a spiralitic pattern that, if you look at it, and what's interesting about them, for what it's worth, when you look at them, if you could look at them from the outside in or the inside out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that really shows something here, because if something is growing from the inside out and it's following its outer path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's coming inward and it's following its inner path, the fact is that the relationship and the ratio is still the same. It's just inverse. So we see both patterns occurring in the RAV when it's running on glass, and I think that directly correlates with the relationship between the Julius set and what you're seeing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, I see this more in the glass tube that melts,
Mhm.
the one you use straight up,
Oh,
versus
yeah, we're gonna
yeah,
learn something.
yeah, versus the other one. The other one is more of just a, I don't want to say this. It's not a fancy scrolling pattern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like if you take a, I don't say this. If you take an iron ball, get it hot, and can move it around on the surface, you know what I mean? It creates those things, but then just do it in circles, and that's kind of what it is. So you're getting vortexes in there, but I'm not seeing the complexity. You know what I mean? As it shows up in the other one.
Yeah. I think yeah, I didn't pick the best one, because there is one that looks more related. Um,
I mean,
and
for
they,
what it's worth, I do see what you're saying, though, Sean. And I mean, I agree with Nathan that it's more visually present in the glass tube, but I'm with you. It's all, it does follow the same patterns, more or less, and that's do
yeah,
with the rotation. It's a vortex, and that's how these are formed, is off of
yeah,
vortexes.
yeah, exactly. Thank you.
And that's also why you don't necessarily get, when you get the snowflake structuring. Okay, that's why
Hmm.
you don't get these patterns and you get more dendritic type patterns, is because they are part of a subset of field geometries that are occurring, that are
Hmm.
part of the overall sum of the whole, okay, but are separate of the actual RAV's immediate, field geometries.
Hmm.
And that's important to note, because the thing about the RAV is that it's the cumulative center, more or less, of
Hmm.
where all of the fields that occur form and change. So it might not be like center as far as like a measurement is concerned, or
Hmm.
center as far as like some type of symmetry is concerned. It's just the common place where one side goes and crosses the next. Okay, so that's what's really kind of important to know, is that once it crosses, you're not in the RAV part anymore, but the field still exists, and then you start to get alternative types of fractals.
It's an apple
Yeah.
sausage.
Yeah,
It's an
Yeah,
apple
that makes sense.
sausage. Oh yes, what was that? I was like,
Nathan kind of stole my thunder, because
you like it?
he jumped to the next fractal. So let me add this.
You want the other half?
Hmm?
You want the other half? Oh,
Okay. So
I'll take the fork back.
the next
I'll take the fork.
kind of experiment with glass is where I take a thin glass tube. Nathan, can you see the full
Sure.
video here?
there we go. Now we can.
Awesome. So let's play it, and then I'll share it with you what's going on here. This tube is about 1 millimeter, and it's a what they call capillary tube. It's still the boron silicate glass. These are used in laboratories. And so now, and I filled it with water, And then I start my old anode on top. The bottom here is a cathode. It's a stainless steel plate. There's no water in the plate though. I just kind of dripped the water in and then started the RAV. And this is like being a pain. It's not playing. So maybe I'll just click through it here. So the RAV forms on the top, and what it's doing is the RAV's working its way down the glass. Now, this is very surprising, very fascinating to me, because what it's doing is it's organizing the glass to very specific formations. And so as it moves down, and so also to the way it moves down, this is a this one makes more sense where, oh yeah, it's cooked all the glass back there, so it's looking for more glass to cook. But as it works its way down, it seems a bit strange because it's determined to keep going down to the bottom of the tube. So let me see. I have here.
Well, I mean, Shawn, that does make total sense because it again has to do with the same exact concept as before, except now the whole geometry and relationship of free space has changed, right? So
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking for something. Say again, please. Sorry about that.
yeah, I'm saying that this follows the same principle as the last experiment, except because it's a glass pipe, more not pipe, but a solid piece of glass as opposed to a tube. That center geometry, not being air, changes the whole entire dynamic of how the energy exchange must take place.
I'm sorry, Joe. It's a tube. It's a capillary tube.
It's a
didn't
capillary
say
tube. Oh, that is a tube.
it
Okay,
is
is that smaller diameter than the other one?
1 millimeter.
1 millimeter. Okay.
1 millimeter. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it's 1 millimeter tube, so it's very thin.
Right. Okay. So, and that's actually more. It still runs along the same lines there, more or less, because the free space in the middle is still significantly reduced, right? In relationship to the walls, it's gonna pull down like that because it's depleting the energy in that's saturating into the glass. But because it's large enough, has a high density enough to take up the entire tube, there's no density from the cathode that could pass the RAV. So the only potential that it has is ahead of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just, for me, I have a tough time. This arrow's not working. Oh, okay. As I space through it, this is the same video, but a few minutes later, and you can see the RAV is still working its way down the glass tube. And what you're seeing now is that purple streamer. That purple streamer is actually coming from the anode up top. And so the plasma is literally jumping down now because the air has less resistance than the glass. So it just goes right into the air so it can feed the RAV, and the RAV can then munch on the glass tube to reorganize it. And so this is kind of fascinating again to me because you would think that the glass that it's heated up would have less resistance than the air, but I think that as it's structuring this glass, I think that it's cooling faster, or it's just cooling, and then because it has all these chambers, it's not smooth. As soon as it would try to conduct electricity through it, it would have all these different resistance values, and therefore just forget it. We're just going to go through the air. That's kind of my theory, but I'd love to hear what you guys think.
I mean, I think that because the RAV is spinning and it has its magnetic field structured properly, that it's just simply creating you know, a less resistant path. And the axis of the RAV is probably not aligned with the tube. So where that path is going to come in at the points of access, you know, that's it's not going to be where the tube is. So it's going to, you know, that's my opinion why.
It's an act of least resistance. In the air, inside the tube, there's little resistance. When you start forming this and it shapes, there's high resistance on the top. That's why it's cutting it over top of it with the purple as much as it can to keep the energy to the RAV. The RAV's already set in the structure. And I'm sure once we look at their structure under a microscope, we're going to see a directional,
Yeah.
angle to it, which we should.
Yes.
But
will.
We
that's
know that it's rotating around the rod too, though, Nathan, right? So you could see that in the bolted structures when Shawn had showed the manipulated image from the other day. And if you look at the arc now and where it's connecting, we know that the rotational direction, the axis of spin, is related to the where the anode arc connects to the RAV or turn,
Yeah.
but
right?
just notice the anodes where it's feeding from. It's not feeding all the way down at the RAV. It feeds from up top on the outside with the purple.
Yeah.
Correct, which is what I'm saying. So if you look now at that arc and realize that that arc is actually moving and it's kind of bending and twisting itself, you know, that means that the axis point of the RAV is also turning in a whole new axis, you know, a whole new directional axis.
Okay, Shawn, I'm
Yeah.
gonna need you to pause this.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask you about the
And
cathode here.
go
Is-
back go back a little to where all the writing is with the pause sign. A little more right around there.
right there.
Yeah,
A little
okay.
bit.
Here's what I want you to see.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever the RAV is, you're getting the rainbow.
Oh, I
Right
see it.
under that, you're getting the plasmoid. Around the plasmoid, going back to it, you're getting that bubble. So the same pictures that's on the thumbnail of this is right there. It's all formed.
Yeah, I see it. Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can get a better image of it.
So it's pretty clear what's, you know what I mean, that you're getting it in there with the RAV. So there's no question
Yeah.
it's not just melting, you're getting the RAV.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's a great point. Yes. Very good point. Did you guys notice that it burned out the glass tube down here and that the cathode has to jump the air gap and it's orange? Did you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that crazy?
Mhm.
It's so amazing to me how that the RAV is just manipulating matter. It's building a new fractal like shape, and we'll see that here in a second. Did you guys want to say anything more?
Hey, hang on. See if the bottom swirls the rim right here. John says, look at see if it swirls.
By the way, it does, because you could tell from the light reflection and the cathode where it comes in. And if you look, it's actually it looks like it's inverse the top.
Well, it looks like it's stuck to one point, and it looks like it's dancing.
Yeah, it's dancing, but it's got a bias. It's flicking from like right like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's flicking from right and then going back a little and then forward to the left and then back.
I think I know what's going on. Okay, I bet you're getting sound in the tube. Okay, just hear me out. When you get that kind of a high voltage, you're going to get a sound in there, like an ultrasound, and it's
Yeah.
going to move that plasma. And I think that's what's causing it. I don't think it's because it wants to move in the direction of the RAV. I think it's because of the sound coming out of the tube once you create it. We saw this in one of Shawn's other experiments. and it sounded like an alien voice or like the sound of the universe.
Yeah.
And it's the same effect.
Yeah, you're right. At least in my observations, Nathan, the only time that I've seen the RAV spin the plasma is when the plasma turns the same color as the RAV. And I'll show you that, guys, in a second. And that excites me a lot because now the RAV is basically can send messages because as it the RAV forms plasma inside the glass tube. The RAV is still spinning, but this RAV like plasma, pure white, it's probably going to be have a little bit of lag and might turn into a helical shape. And I'm going to try to test for that. But yeah, this is very exciting for me.
Well, you could see the arc going helical on several occasions just in this video alone. And that's what I was talking about when I was talking about the arc where it connects with the RAV is the rotational axis of the RAV and the fact that that's whipping around. Okay, and then
Yes.
and create, you see it right there still.
Yep.
Right, the fact that it's doing that means that the axis point is actually shifting around the perimeter of the rod. That's what I was saying. See how
Okay,
it's
hold on.
doing it? It wrapped itself around the rod because the rod is spinning around the rod.
Yeah, making a helical swirl down it.
Okay, what you're going to see in slow motion is every time the RAV brightens, you're going to see the bottom piece of plasma move. There's a direct correlation between the two, which means it's like a bass sound. It's like a bass tube. You ever play with a bass tube?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Makes sense.
You see it, boom, brightens, boom, immediate effect on the bottom. Boom, boom.
Well, that's because it has an exchange rate, right? So because it has
tied
an
together.
exchange rate,
They're tied together. Boom,
yeah,
boom.
right, exactly. If one pulls harder and flares up, it means more. If it pulls harder, it gets more.
Right. That's so cool, guys. Thank you for the input on that one. This is good stuff. All right, well, so let's now get a microscopic view into the glass that was just reformed by the RAV. Let's see here. This is an interesting format. I appreciate you having me on, Nathan.
Yeah, not a problem.
I sprung this up on Nathan at the last minute. So let's see here.
I think Joe likes dissecting these while you're here.
I
It's
did.
fun.
Because
Yeah,
if I have questions, then I ask them. I can get clarification on, like right there.
yeah, exactly. All right, this one's pretty cool. I like this one. Right.
Nope, not yet. Tell me when you're ready, Shawn.
All right. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Never been ready.
So
Nope,
the
that wasn't
RAV
it.
has worked its way all the way down now.
Hold on, Shawn.
Here.
I don't have the picture.
Yo, you don't see it?
No, I got garbly gook.
Gobbledygook.
Look,
I'll
I got
reshare.
StreamYard.
Okay. I'll reshare it.
Not quite what we're looking for.
Okay. How's that?
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, this is the RAV almost finishing its job in creating reorganizing the molecules of the glass tube. Look at how
That thing looks like a straight double helix, like caduceus, you know?
it does.
A piece of DNA or something that it's forming. It's probably I would say that it's imprinting all sorts of data as it actually does this, like all sorts of data.
There's a book written on that. It's called A New Kind of Heaven. Ian had been on me quite a bit to read it, and he posits that same theory, Nathan, where there is a ton of information in the materials that plasma makes or plasma influences its design. So, and he makes a case from a lot of, Nobel laureates and famous scientists who agree with him. So yeah, Joe, you're spot on with these guys. And you're going to kind of see that helical shape here when we look at it under the microscope. But I just kind of wanted to show you how I'm focused in really on it moving down to the bottom. I guess I should have zoomed out a bit better, but what you're seeing is just now it's going to be a beautiful glass tube here. And so this is the end product. So I kind of want to go now just to the microscope and then look at this glass and see and pick your brains, Joe, Nathan. This can stop. That's nice.
That's some real Ghostbusters stuff that you had going on there, though, Sean. I'm telling you.
Oh, the colors. Beautiful. I think plasma.
Oh, hold on. Where'd it go? Put that back up.
You wanted to talk about that one, or I was bringing up another one?
Okay.
No.
There's green gas coming off of that one
Yeah.
at some point.
Oh yeah, there's some crazy.
Well, usually it's white and it's orange, but we had some green going on there.
Yeah,
All
Tesla liked his green gas, that's for sure.
So that one was a piece of glass, right, Sean?
This is glass.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you see it again?
Okay. Here we go. Right there, I see green.
Green.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wish I could zoom in.
Oh, you got blue in there too.
Oh, yeah.
Pause it.
That's
See if you can pause it a little earlier.
Yep.
Like
I see
halfway through the
green is
beginning.
faint.
Yeah, scroll back a little
It's
bit.
straight pink and orange there, but,
It's so fascinating because those colors
Yeah.
have to be just from the geometry of the glass, because there's no change in the glass chemicals, and yet you're just seeing it all these different colors.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting the frequency change is what you're getting.
That makes total sense. Yep.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's important to note the color on everything too,
Look at that.
because it's not consistent. Like the orange is consistent mostly,
Yeah.
but you could tell when it hits a bit of resistance, the frequency changes.
Yep. This thing is a light frequency. Refractor.
Well, I mean, the resistance is deterministic in this case of the refraction that's occurring, which is mechanism of the frequency change.
Mhm.
Therefore, the wavelength change, which is, the same, and
Right.
the change of the color. There you
Yeah.
go. And it's capable of any color in the spectrum, as we know. And the RAV itself we know it builds out brilliant white. It puts out white light, every color in the spectrum potential.
Yeah. So the cathode being on the bottom means electrons are moving up to the anode, but there's also the anode pushing down ionized air, ionized oxygen, ionized nitrogen. And because those particles are bigger, they slam into the cathode material of the glass, heat it up. But as the plasma leaves this complex structure, is like a prism, and it just blasts out the prism down here. Oh my goodness, that just came to me. What do you
By
guys?
the way, sorry, that yellow right there is more like the sun. The way you had it paused. It has the lighter color than the darker color on the outside, but the white on the inside.
Oh my goodness, it looks, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It has the colors of the solar flares.
Yeah.
Leaving. Look at that. That's a solar flare.
I mean, it has all the colors, and you're getting them in, real good view.
It's incredible. I love sharing this with you guys. You guys really see what's going on.
Oh, I like that shot right there. Look at that. So look at the little bubble on the top and the bubble on the bottom of the plasma and how it swirls and it makes a figure eight.
Yep.
That's just an awesome look.
It's crazy. That's a figure eight. Man.
I just can't believe how twisted that rod is. Like,
Yeah.
and this goes to prove out exactly what I have been talking about. When things break out fractally like that, the piece gets smaller and smaller, and then when it reaches that breaking point of diffusion, the pendulum's got to swing the other way. It starts to come back the other way, starts to come back together, condense again. That's the cavitation that I've been talking about all the time. This expansion and contraction that things, right? And you can see it. It has a memory, right?
Yeah, and here's the helical shape you pointed out, Joe, earlier that I didn't see, but that's a helical. I mean, plasma's wrapping around that thing helically.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It did that multiple times, and I could revisit this and show you the screenshots of it and stuff.
Yeah. I can definitely send it out. So I kind of want to now dig into the glass itself. Are you guys ready to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an air, John.
It's
Yeah, no vacuum on these. That's part of why the analysis gets messed up between this and the plasmoid, because they're in a vacuum chamber and events don't work the same. And that's why when you go to AI, they screw up the answer. And even in plasma physics, if they don't use open air, it's a wrong answer. That's why it's usually 70% on those.
Yeah, the swirling is due to convection. Well, that's very, that's not wrong, but it's very oversimplified. There's because this is how
Can
it.
you see the screen, Joe or Nathan?
Give
Can
me
you
a
see?
second. Got it.
Awesome. So what you're seeing here is I'm filming or video recording real time my microscope screen to show you what that glass rod has been converted to. As you saw, it was converting the glass tube into this. And so I hadn't really figured out my microscope. I got a new camera. I haven't figured that out. So I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to film the microscope. But this kind of shows just the beauty. It doesn't look this beautiful far away, but when you get up on it, it just has so many beautiful swirls. And now I just wanted to show that one before we now look at the ones you guys talked about last Friday. And I'd love to get your input now that I'm here. Excuse me, to answer what's going on, what the environment is. Let's see here. Put them together. Let's see.
All right. Well, you pull that up. I'm just going to address something real quick for John Bigman that I was saying about the oversimplification.
Overcore.
Why it was wrapping around. I mean, it has to do with the greater field geometry and why the RAV spins in the first place. Okay, and that's based on the energy exchange and the cross points, and how that exchange and cross points are also indicative of the magnetic field, right? And how those two cross points create the spin and are deterministic of the axis. So whenever you have the spin, and now you're adding that spin onto a more or less two-dimensional surface geometry, which it always builds on as a two-dimensional surface. You have multiple axes of motion that and forces that are occurring in a shifting field geometry, and that's going to pull it on a bias. So now the RAV is moving around this two-dimensional perimeter on this bias. As we know, that spin on itself that's causing the secondary rotation is directly linked to the axis of the anode. So that arc is following that path. And at the same point, it's also got certain restrictions. So it's just not going to indefinitely wind around it like a cord would around a pole. It because it doesn't follow the same dimensionality restrictions, it could actually snap that helical pattern out of itself and then flop. Like literally just like get rid of the helical instantly and just flop over into a then straight line, so it doesn't continue just to indefinitely wrap around. But it's cause of that rotation, which is cause of the secondary rotation, and it's following it as much as it generally can. And it's because of the offset bias between the 2D surface and the anode and the spin that it occurs. And that's why you get the helical pattern and the rotation, the secondary rotation, but it's also why you get what I will just call, for lack of a better way to put it, the botryoids, the vortex botryoids inside of the tube. So, you get these bulb events where you could see the rotation. And when you look at them, they have multiple swirls, and you could actually see where the axis has been changing in relationship to the anode and the 2D surface that it's riding on. So that's why I said that you're not wrong. It has to do with convection, because the entire formation of the RAV has to do with convection. The convection is the eddy currents. The eddy currents are the collapse of the magnetic component to the magnetic field. And then once the magnetic field is formed, the eddy current sustains. So, the convection currents are what this thing runs all off of in general. It's the mechanism of the exchange in the first place. So, yeah, I digress. I know that was a lot of words, but
No, thank you.
That'd be my breath into the microphone, by the way. They made me turn it up.
yeah.
Thank you. No, Joe, you're giving me a little time here to put things together, so I appreciate it. It's good stuff you're putting out. So let me just go to. I cannot find it. Almost there, guys. You guys have any more questions in the chat, maybe?
What we got? I haven't dipped into our podcast format chat in a while. To what we got there.
Well, they want to know about the Lorentz force. Do you have any Lorentz force going on in this that you guys can see?
Lorentz force is a part of it, but it's something that actually I highly speculative, I guess. But I mean, we overcome the Lorentz force in order for this to occur. So it's you know what I mean. So it's a factor, but it's a factor that's being pushed out rather than in. I don't know.
All right. I thought I had more than I have, but I think this will work. So we're gonna take a look at this. I call it. I wrote it in my notes here. I call it a vortex glass rod, and that's just an observational title, because I need a lexicon for RAV, because these aren't in, I can't go to AI or look it up in the science books what is happening in this RAV formation. Even the RAV itself, AI says you do everything that scientists try to avoid in the laboratory. You do it in the air instead of a vacuum chamber. You're melting the tubes when you should be doing experiments in the tubes. And AI just goes on, but being on that outside is what I think is where we're finding and making the discoveries. Let's see here. I hope that made sense. Just one more, guys, and then I'll show you. So if you recall how I talked about the labyrinth type shapes were matching up to the 3D Julia set, and then I pulled up a Julia set that didn't look anything like it. Here, I'm going to try to pull up one. Let's see. Okay. It's ordered by numbers here. So, all right, here we go. All right, we're ready.
Oh,
Save.
by the way, there's that video cycling of them spinning plasma mechanically inside of a coil and showing that it picks up the voltage from the current. A voltage current from the spinning plasma. Pardon me. I'm trying to get my words together. So, I mean, I've been kind of saying that for a minute. I think it might be time to, show it, especially since we don't have to mechanically spin the rack or put it in a vacuum tube. But anyway, I digress. Yes, this image.
Yeah, so you can just see it's not as clear as I'd like, but we're going to kind of drill in. But there are a lot of vortex shapes that are kind of bent. It's almost like who's the surrealist painter who has the melted clock? Oh boy, what's his name? Well, it looks like there's a lot of melted vortexes in the glass. And so I asked AI to touch it up, and so we can kind of see the detail. And so if you guys can see this, AI, all it did was just kind of follow the patterns. Can you guys see that?
Yep. Yeah, we looked at this last week, and we were definitely able to figure this out to a degree. It was very helpful.
Yeah, I just was hoping you guys can all see it this big and detailed. Because when you pointed out, Joe, these directional circles, I didn't see them until you wrote them out. And you actually wrote it out, I think, on a different one I have. But I started seeing the same things as soon as you showed me them. So you can kind of see there's a circle here, a directional vortex shape here, and here, but tell me this is not structure. This is not random, like burning a piece of glass, in a campfire. I mean, this is plasma orientated glass molecules. I don't know how to say it. It's just it's
Let-
blowing my mind.
All right, so let me point out something that I did not point out last week that I'm going to point out now, okay? Which is, it goes back to the overall vertical helical configuration that you're seeing, the rotation of the RAV around that additional axis point, okay? You can see where it tightens up. There's a shear line, okay? And right where that line is, right at the 45-degree angle approximately, right? I don't have a way to sit there and point to it right now, but at that exact line, that's exactly where it's orbiting around. And that's the pattern that it's making. And then it's making these as I called them before, like botryoidal type sub patterns. So it's like heating up and it's moving and it's moving and it's heating up and it's moving and it's cooling, and then that's what it's leaving. And when you're able to look at these patterns, what you'll notice is exactly what I was saying about the anode axis changing, okay, as it moves around the perimeter, okay, in relationship to these structures. So what you'll see is that what direction it's rotating and where the axis point is directly relative as it's traveling the perimeter.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And it's repeating. It is repeating, and you can see how the structures on the bottom are from this vantage point are almost always round in the way, right? Whereas they're more distorted toward the middle. And that's because you're seeing the axis where it cut there, okay, is from a different rotational vantage point. Okay, so the swirl is actually a different direction because it's moving rotationally, but then also along the surface, changing the entire relative viewing angle, so to speak, right, of where the axis is in relationship to where you're viewing it from.
Yeah.
You could see where these black dots or holes or whatever appear, right? Well, I mean, those are your axis points where the anode is hitting. So whenever it's facing a direction that we can view from here, you will actually see where that particular void is, like right there.
Yeah, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dr. Robert Temple in his book New Kind of Heaven, I'm going to be kind of referring to that over and over, but he says that when plasma organizes matter, that it holds so much information, it can store so much information that you can basically place all the information of the world in a very small structure created by plasma. And I can't help to think that from his book that this definitely looks like information storage.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Right,
does.
because it's consistent but variable, right? And it's those small variations that is the information. It could actually tell you every single thing about the environment and the RAV itself at that exact moment in time that formation was locked in.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think, Nathan? Plain
Well, you
ugly?
can definitely see where it swirls like this, when you see the plasma go in. So if you put this next to the plasma when it's going off and slow it down, you'll see the exact way that it comes across, goes back, swirls over. You know what I mean? And does it. It'd be an interesting view to see them both at the same time. Because, yeah, it's pretty much playing out exactly how the plasma did.
Exactly. And I mentioned this last week, but we should do something with it. Especially you said you have lasers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you realize that it's storing the information the way that it is, right? And this is what we're sort of seeing. It should really be like the frozen water effect at that point, which means it's holographic. Okay, so you should be able to actually run light through it at certain axis points. Okay, and then get a literal projection of that data in 3 dimensions. That's what happens with water. So if you were to drop something into water and freeze it instantaneously, okay, and then take the section that's frozen at the surface and shine a laser through it,
Mhm.
it would actually project the entire underwater surface because, like any hologram, any small fragment of the hologram itself
Mhm.
contains the sum of the whole.
That
So,
makes total sense. Yeah, that's good.
so you get all the data. So you would actually see the ice cube dropping, and you see the ice cube itself in all the points that it travels in
Yeah,
holographic 3D.
but the information you get is frequency, light, things like that is what you get out of this. Ones and zeros you're not going to get. That's not what it's made
It's
to
not
do.
that right. It's not that type of data. It's actually um, more more like visceral than that, like or tangible, I should say. Tangible is probably the right word, right? It's like actual data, physical data.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's light patterns and stuff like that. Everything that you saw going in with the plasma is what's recorded right here.
Yeah. Yep.
So when it talks about formation and how did it form, that's going to give you all the data of how it formed.
Yep. And when you have all the variables, then you can project what's going to happen. And by the way, this resembles a fourth dimensional Julia set. So I'll show you that here in a little bit. This is, not the clearest, but it shows you how beautiful the glass melts. Here is, I'm setting it in its own lighting, plain lighting, next to the tube. So the tube is on the right, and then on the left, you can see what the RAV has done to this, turning it into a VGR, a vortex glass rod.
Okay, real quick.
Vortex flash around. I'm with that.
When you get a chance, pull up a diamond and put it next to this. I don't mean a polished one. Get a raw diamond. Okay? There's structure inside of this.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It may not be an exact match, you know what I mean? But it's showing you something.
It is showing you something, right? Because it has a metallic luster. And that's
Yes.
the thing, right? I mean, diamonds have a metallic luster. This rod has a metallic luster.
And it's got inclusions that look like you would see in a raw diamond.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying it could just be a fun experiment to try it. It may mean nothing.
I mean, I see it in my mind's eye. What you're saying, it totally matches. But I'll write that down here to do it. Right. So let's see the next one.
John says, "Well, yeah, it's crystal to begin with."
Well, I mean, interestingly though, glass is like it's one of those weird things though, where it's like, yeah, okay, because it's a certain repeating structure to a degree, it is a crystal, but it's not a true crystal because it doesn't have a specified repeating lattice like a true crystal does.
Yeah, it's
But
crystal light.
I would argue at this point that this is structured. So, is it crystal now? And I think that's an interesting question because I would argue that it probably is.
Yeah, I think Bernie says that these are crystal-like, and then I think Robert Temple in his book goes as far as to say that you're getting crystals, and that plasma makes crystals. He actually uses that phrase, and then as I was analyzing these, I just thought, yeah, wow. I mean, it's crystal-like.
Well, if regular old plasma makes crystals, then what in the hell does structured self-organizing plasma make? Like
Yeah.
seriously, like whatever crystal you want. Like what's the answer then, right?
Yeah.
Well, I
That,
think it's okay. I think it's that color variance. Okay, that causes the problem. It would be a whole lot more structured if we didn't get that. You know what I
Well,
mean?
right. If that color variance was consistent, Now, what's interesting is there a pattern of the color variation, okay, that is identifiable as something that can be observed on the rod itself. So if you see it turn a green, right, at a certain spot, well, it might be worth it to locate that spot on the rod and examine it and then see where it turned green at another spot on the rod, identify that spot, and then compare the two. Because I would say that if there, if there is a frequency change that is an anomaly and it's locking in that data, that there might be an observable difference at that point, right? And maybe you wouldn't know exactly what that means, but you'd be able to see that there's an observable difference.
Well, hold on, say this. When the plasma turns around the thing, you can see it swirl around, right? I think some of that would stop. When you get into the structuring of it, I think some of that would stop because it's got an identifiable pattern. So if you're doing the frequency burst, the same thing in sets of 6, right? You get a 6-shaped item in there for each time it runs, right? So, but we're not getting that. We're getting 1 to 2 and then off flare, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So it sets off the pattern. So it looks like mush, but we can see the crystalline structure behind it that it's supposed to be there, but we're not getting a consistent 6 patterns in a row.
Now, I happen to agree with you. The thing is that it wouldn't go straight down it or anything like that. At that point, it would structure it
Evenly.
evenly, and so if it was a helical, it would just simply be a helical, or it might just thin out and flare out, and thin out and flare out, and do that sort of thing. The more like a piece of corundum, like a sapphire or a ruby. Those form kind of like long, sort of double triangular shapes, or they're what are they? Hexagons, I think. So
that's before and that's after, Shawn?
Yeah. These are 2 different runs of the RAV on each side, and then this is the tube pre-RAV. So just to give you a comparison, I'm trying to get this in natural light. Remember that the tube is only 1 millimeter in diameter, so this is small stuff, even though it looks big under the microscope. So when you're talking about shooting lasers and stuff through it, it's super, super tough.
hey, Shawn, any way that you could get those tubes in quartz tubes? I know they make them.
I have quartz tubes experiments to share.
Oh, very nice.
I don't know what we're waiting for.
Yeah, I sit when I'm not well and shop on Amazon, and then I lean against my workbench and electrocute things. And so this is what this is for me, just enjoying the RAV. So what you're looking at here is a 4-dimensional Julia set. I wish I could show you the animation of it, but it was on some website that wouldn't let me grab it. But this has a type of movements that are very similar to the vortex glass rod. The vortex glass rod moves like a 4th-dimensional Julia set, and I think I have one more graphic of that. I hope so. Let's see. This one here, it says a 3D slice, and the reason is because this thing is not in motion. If you go to Wikipedia, you'll see this thing moving. And again, the movement here follows the shape of what we're seeing in the vortex glass rod. Here, this guy's got a really good sight. It's the 4D Julia set, very much Tom. This thing, the way it moves is what I believe is the way the RAV is organizing the glass.
Hmm.
What do you guys think?
Well, that's 100% consistent with that your glass that you're showing.
It is. Now, the weird thing about it is that if you add in the fact that it's rotational, okay, you have to add then yet another dimension of motion into that, and it would be identical. See, because it's doing exactly that, but the way that it is doing that is by virtue of this around that surface, right? So that's sort of what's incredible about it. If you
What?
take that and then you just put another rotational axis at 45 degrees and etch it around that, then that's exactly what you're seeing is the convection, like John Bigman said, the convection between that one rotation and then the cause rotation of that. So I couldn't be in greater agreement with it, man. That's how I see it.
So, what the heck is going on with zapping a piece of glass and you get the three-dimensional Julia set, and then if you melt that glass with the RAB and let it reshape it, you end up with the 4D Julia set. Now, I'm not linking it to the equation that creates these Julia sets, but I'm relating them because there's a correlation in how they match, and they match in I mean, it's uncanny. It's I don't
Well,
even know.
but I think that those, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know that formula by any means off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it has to do with phi squared. So, that's been known to be a key to, you know, uh, the things that we're looking for. Like I don't want to make claims here, but like the
Yeah.
phi squared is a massive part of the equations when it has to do with anomalous electromagnetism.
When I went to this, these guys will give you the equations, these 4D Juliusite guys, and because they call this the sister of the Mandelbrot, and the 4D Mandelbrot, it's just basically the Mandelbrot's equation, and instead of changing the variable z in the equation, it changes with the type of number, the variable. And so this is using complex, is it complex? No, imaginary numbers. So imaginary numbers are fed into the Mandelbrot equation, and then you end up with the Julia set. That's from my reading. I do like how you're thinking, Joe, because the math has nothing to do with what the RAV is doing. The RAV didn't say, "Oh, I got to use the Mandelbrot, but I have to change it to imaginary numbers."
Right. Well, the RAV is just doing what things do naturally when configured properly. It's just maintaining stability. So, we've discussed what's incredible about the RAV, and not just for what it is, being self-sustained, self-organizing, air breathing, etc. But like the fact that what it's actually doing is acting as Maxwell's demon, as they've called it. That's what somebody's called it, not Maxwell and not me, right? But that's what it's called, where they're literally you're taking the bits of entropic chaos and you're bringing them back into a separate chaos, organized state, and then you're allowing them to sit there and exchange with each other at a certain rate, through this medium that is the RAV, that is the stability, that is the exchange. And then on both other sides, you have these extreme biases that occur of, low energy potential, high energy potential, so to speak. And when you bring all that into the equation, the only thing that can happen is it fall into the sphere form of with all these motion vectors and leave that fingerprint behind. And that's the point, is leave that fingerprint behind for that exact reason, because it's doing all of those things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what are we
So
looking at?
so this, if you guys remember earlier, the maze like the labyrinth like structures on the
Mhm.
glass. I couldn't find a really good exact match. And what this is this is the three-dimensional Julia set. So the mathematician guy programmed it, and it's on YouTube. But this one caught my eye because if you look at the structure, the maze structure looks just like this meandering kind of a little bit of like a road. If you can remember the bubbles, this is almost identical of what's being created. Now it's not creating it, multiples, but check this out. Do you
No,
remember
Sean, it is. It's doing exactly what you're showing. If
that?
you take if you take that as a line and then you wrap it as a solid tube and then repeating that pattern, that's exactly what it's doing. And that's what dimensionality is. So what you're observing there is the impression of, you're seeing a two-dimensional version of a three-dimensional Julius set. Okay. Now, if you were to take that and make it three-dimensional, but then also give it depth, okay, where it's made up of three-dimensional objects, which is exactly what that glass tube is showing, what you're observing at that point is a minimum of a four-dimensional Julius set. It could possibly be higher dimensional, but those are axes that we wouldn't be able to really consider here. The thing is that you could see the impression of those other axes occurring. Okay. Because the first thing you have to do in your head, okay, is make each one of those blank spots in the center, do away with it, and then take the perimeter and make that a sphere. Okay. And that's your first point. Now, when you look at those bulbs that we see there, the repeating bulbs, that's
Mhm.
exactly what you're seeing, is those little spirals all spread out over a 3D surface. Okay, now you repeat that one time, one time, one time to add that dimensionality to bring it to that next dimension. And that's exactly what's happening, man. I see it. It's there.
Right. Yep. It's crazy. This is crazy stuff. I'm glad
Well,
that.
fantastic example, by the way.
Thank you. I'm so happy to share it. I've been at like I've had ants in my pants wanting to share it with you guys and get your guys' opinion because I want to bring up um one of the photos here that matches this because it just threw me for a loop when I saw this, and I'm gonna find it here in a second. Um, so sorry, you guys can keep talking. Nathan, what are your thoughts?
Oh, can you hit play? Is it a play or is this just a picture?
It's a screenshot. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought we were going to see it running. I wanted to see if it had the same run.
It's funny you say that because I was clicking on the play.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that's
you
cool.
see it okay, Nathan?
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
Yeah, somebody already
Uh,
said it's like a cell wall. I mean, yeah, that's right on. Also looks like how different like agates and things that form naturally in cavities organize themselves. Generally, it's I mean, it looks like a whole bunch of different things because again, this is just how this is one of the main ways that the universe likes to organize itself.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so
remi-
you see in the middle here these little
Mhm.
middle spots here, these little what you got going, I don't know. They're like little tubes or something. And
Okay.
so then when I show you one of the ones in the center, it has those little glass vortexes, but a lot of them look like tubes. And this is what really surprised me. Okay, so I'm gonna just put this one down if you guys can hold it in your mind's eye, and then I'm gonna show you this one and do it.
That was repeating over and over again, by the way. The closer in toward those cell walls, it was there too.
Yeah. So do you see this okay?
Mm-hmm.
So here you have that outer kind of thing we just saw, and then in the middle we have the little tubes. And some of these are just a little small circle of tubes. I just couldn't find it. But I had one of these. I don't have a name for them yet. If you guys want to help me out, that just it's just a Julius.
Have you
Was it-
zoomed into that closer?
Was the other one created in a vacuum?
The one that the screenshot,
Yeah.
that was a computer generated
Uh-oh.
AI.
Right. Oh, yeah, that zoom really helps. Okay. See all the bubble structures. See exactly what you're talking about. Now move toward the center where, it's mostly white. What I want to see is how those tubes change direction because I have a thought process here.
Let me grab a tube that looks really good while you're looking at this one. Do you want me to zoom in again on this one?
Yeah, zoom in on the center of that just because I want to see what the direction looks like of the structure.
Okay, is that good? You want to bring it in more?
Bring it in more and toward the center, please.
Is it toward the center? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's good. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm looking at my other screen that's on delay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yep, leave it right there. I'm going to take a look.
Okay, and then I'm gonna look at find you one.
There's a straight up vortex in this thing. I can trace the line.
Well, yeah, most of them are. They look like that picture you showed.
Yeah, but no. In the center, it's literally I could trace the line of the vortex. It's clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm thinking is this. Oh, well, that doesn't work. I have a hunch that when it gets to this middle and it's reorganizing this middle, so when it's reorganizing, or when it's first organizing the initial organization, tracing out all those around patterns, right? That there's actual, it's like a more dimensionality in terms of the structuring. Okay. But what it's actually trying to do might be interesting, if this is what's happening. Okay. It's building it more macroscopically in the center, okay, which is why you could actually see the vortice lines. And I will trace these out and show these to you after this task, okay? But what it looks like is like it's also pulling straight up at that point. Okay, so when it's going around the center, it's pulling from all axes and then moving, and that's creating less coherence. All right. When it's moving into the center, okay, it's actually trying to reduce the dimensionality of the center, which makes sense because the energy, the energy saturation, would probably be less trapped and more available the more coherent the organization of the structure. So by arranging things, on a less dimensional plane, okay, is the more available that it is. That's sort of what my train of thought is, and I'm not saying that that's correct, but that's sort of what I'm seeing, and I definitely see the spiral clear as day in that. So
Yeah.
You
No,
can trace the lines of the spiral.
and I'm still looking for a good one.
And it's counterclockwise, by the way.
I keep looking for a good.
Clockwise inward, but counterclockwise from the center out.
Makes sense. It makes sense because I'm seeing ones that are a lot clearer, but I can't get them on the screen. I'm being really super dyslexic. So guys, I really appreciate the input. I just have one more thing to share if you guys have a little more time.
Sure.
Go
I
for
mean,
it.
did you have one of those quartz videos? I would love to see that personally.
Which video? Sorry.
You said you had videos with quartz tubes.
Oh, yeah, I can share that real quick. I wanted to show you how I'm getting RAV to form underwater.
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's do that.
That was a cool one. It's just that. Yeah. This one for you. Hey guys, sorry, you guys can keep theorizing while I look for this.
Yeah. Mumu had a question in the chat. He wanted to know if the glass turned magnetic at any point.
Oh, that's a good question. No, I haven't measured it.
Okay.
I'll do
Something
that.
to keep in mind. I think that's smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also throw it on your electric tester.
I'll do that too. Good ideas. I'm writing them down. Okay. Oh boy, sorry, almost there.
It's all good. Yeah, I'm not surprised by any of the shaping on here. This all seems normal for this. And I think people think of glass in the wrong way. No different than metal in this setup in the way they do it, except for that it'll create the structure on here where metal won't necessarily. But as far as how conductive it is, it'll work the same. It's like that tube that you show all the time, the insulator, where it finally gets the temperature. You know what I mean? And then it's overwhelmed, and you could
Yeah.
probably create RAVs on it. It kind of works in the same way.
It does. It does. Well, we're in luck. Nathan, we're gonna get a twofer here. I get to show you your quartz tube, but then I can show you something that I discovered that might be something very fascinating because it might lead to plasma communication. So let me oh, you know what? I've run out of time. Can we just look at this next week? I'm just kidding.
You're a funny guy.
Good one, Sean.
Everybody loves a cliffhanger, Sean. It's all right.
Oh, this looks awesome already.
I'm terrible at jokes. Okay, so this is a glass sphere. It's about 1.5 inches in diameter. It's very thin. It's used for crafting. You'll see people put like little, people in it and a little cotton, to be a snowstorm or something, and or an ornament. So this is like arts and crafts circle made out of glass. I assume it's borosilicate because that's the cheapest. But and it acts like it too. But the tube here that I put inside, that's a quartz tube. So I have lots of quartz tube experiments, but we don't have time today. So this is a little bit of water I put in here, and then there's water in the cathode pan. And so because the quartz tube, the plasma is not hot enough to melt the quartz tube, the quartz tube allows me to kind of turn it into my own like conductor, my own, instead of copper wire, I'll use a quartz tube. But it's going to do something here interesting that I can't wait to share and ask you about. So let's do it. Roll it. You know what? I'm going to grab something real quick. I'll be right back.
Look how yellow it is when it's coming out of that quartz tube.
Yeah.
That's an interesting and unique yellow. That's not normal.
Oh no. I've lost you guys, sorry. Can you guys still see it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's turned into a RAV, but watch what fills inside the tube. Watch the color in the tube. All right, sorry about that. So, let's see here. Okay, so trying to catch my breath here. What you're seeing is that as the plasma travels down the quartz tube, it has that little spot where it's hitting the glass at the bottom of this sphere here. The reason why it's having a tough time creating a RAV is because it's sitting in water, and so that's keeping the glass cool. I did this on purpose, but notice I'm taking water away because I want it to be able to get hot. So as I take water away, the glass here is able to heat up, and you can see that it's more interactive as it heats to the glass ball, and then it gets to a point where it forms the RAV because now the water is warming up. It's thinner, and you'll start to see I'm scooping some up. You can see in the corner, I'm taking more water away. Because in all these experiments, I'm constantly trying to just manipulate the RAV and geometries all over the place. Now, as it forms the RAV on the glass, notice the color of the plasma inside the quartz tube. The white starts to climb. It starts to take over the quartz tube. Now, this I started researching this, and AI was telling me that if it has the same spectral light as the RAV, sorry about that, let me fix it. Pause there. Then there is a connection. So as the RAV is spinning, it's spinning the plasma inside the quartz tube.
Yeah.
In that spinning, it's going to cause a little bit of delay because it has friction on the glass tube, and therefore the plasma will start to twist and possibly into a helical shape. So I just figured this out, ran this test today.
I agree with you, by the way. That's when you started mentioning it turning white and being coherent.
Yes.
Yeah, that was exactly what my train of thought was that it was conditioning. You know, it's falling in with the RAV and it's conditioned rather. It's actually allowing for the vortice to form inside the tube.
Right.
Which
And
explains why there's not an anodic arc at the bottom, it's just a RAV. Because it's preconditioned. It just needs to have the ability to expand and contract and make that cathodic connection in order for it to form.
yeah.
I have a lot of interesting experiments that I would love for you to conduct with the quartz tube. We could talk about that and then see what that does later on. But
Yeah,
Can you hit play?
throw it on a list, Joe. I'm open to run, outside the box experiments.
yeah, because remember when I was trying to form the RAV inside the quartz, right? But it was a solid piece of quartz.
Oh,
Well, for what it's worth, you could make a traditional RAV, right? Clay, water, cathode, anode inside the glass, inside the quartz tube. You see what I mean? And then you would be able to have the RAV inside the quartz, and there's probably going to be amplification events and probably more stuff like this, but more extreme. A lot of twisting and yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
hit play on it? Sorry. That's your
Wow,
different
what
one.
happened?
Be interesting to know if the RAV would be contained or not.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, it switched to the next video. Do you see how I'm just playing with the ball? But I'll switch it back. Sorry about that. But I just have a wooden dowel or a wooden stick, and I'm just kind of throwing it around. This is total saturation. There's the glass here is just completely ignoring the water and connected, even though it's a sphere. But this wasn't the one I wanted to share. Sorry. I'm sorry, Nathan.
No, you're good.
I'm looking for it. I lost it. Oh, interesting. Whatever I double click, I don't have to reshare. Oh, that's so good. I've been doing it the long way.
Huh.
20 clicks for every picture. Okay. Let's see. These are just incidental videos. I'm going to try to find the one. Sound of it's pretty.
Yeah. What's that building on?
Say again?
That RAV, what was it building on?
On the cathode wire.
On the
there.
cathode itself, so that's the self-nucleating.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And look at the plasma in there. It just wants to get out, but it's just so many cool things, but I can't find it.
That's interesting. I need to analyze why it's doing the dance.
It's
Look
so
at that.
weird.
Yeah, there's your helical.
Oh, this is the RAV underwater. Okay.
So this bulb is completely filled with water.
No.
No.
The tube, just the tube is a glass tube. It's not quartz. The glass tube's filled with water. And then, isn't that cool? The glass is completely now one with the cathode. But I disrupt the RAV up there with water, and that's what, look, I want to show you that. See this right here? The RAV is in the water. Usually everything cools down, the RAV has to kickstart because the RAV needs heat, needs these certain variables, but the RAV insists upon just saying, you know what, you drop water on me, I don't care, I'm going to stay, I'm going to reform in the water. I'm going to show you a really good picture of it.
Sean, this may seem nuanced, but the things that you said, well, the RAV needs, those are conditions that assist in attaining the, in attaining the conditions for the RAV to form. It's not, but realistically, what the RAV needs is, in my opinion, at least only one thing, and that is an asymmetric, proportional, and restricted energy exchange between the anode and the cathode. So if you have that energy exchange in the proper, within a range of a proper proportion, the RAV is going to form. So the conditions that the things that you described it requiring are conditions that we use in order to get that exchange to occur in that way. You know what I mean? That's why we could actually bypass it if there's other things that could allow for those conditions to exist for the energy exchange.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like to sort of say the RAV hates, RAV is happy. It's just kind of, I guess maybe just fun. But you're exactly right, Joe. It's really all about the environment. And what's so interesting is that I'm just grabbing that little craft ball, and I have a little. This is a glass straw. You can buy on Amazon. You can buy 12 of these glass straws for like $7. And then, of course, I have the cathode on the bottom, anode on top. And it's hard to see here, but the RAV, instead of me extinguishing it, which it always does in other geometries, but not this one, is that the water forms here, and this is a bubble. So the RAV's here, and this is a bubble the RAV created, but it's underwater. You're underwater. So that, and it's harder to see here because it's a bit grainy, but let me see if I can get a little clearer for you. But I mean, I'm watching it just so giddy.
Listen, Shawn, these things happen. We saw the RAV form inside the crystal. You know what I mean? That when I did that experiment, and
Yeah.
we're showing it now in a liquid, which is it's incredible because it's a phase difference.
Yes. When I'm squirting water with the eyedropper on the left coming down to the center, and that blob of water is on top of the RAV. And the RAV stays white, the little booger. Oh, wait, no, he extinguishes this time. Wait. No, there's the one where it does it. Might have been earlier. And it goes crazy with the steam. It makes all kinds of shapes. It's interesting. I think I can get one more time underwater here. No. This might be my other video, but it still shows it. And you can see the glass tube here. I'm shooting for angles, geometry, moisture, and it's just more of a fun thing. I track the configuration so I can enter it into the RAV database. Oh boy, I think those were the two exciting things. One was the RAV set underwater, and the twisting plasma. The RAV is twisting the plasma up the quartz tube. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty neat stuff, man. Like I got 1,000 thoughts going through my head right now. You know, what could kind of become of it, man. It's like yeah, I immediately went back to my train of thought with something that I know about but I've never done, like underwater arc welding. You know, and how you could weld underwater, no problem. Um, it it, it just makes me, you know, beg the question, like, if you configure the RAV totally underwater in the ways that we know it forms, would it just form? And if it doesn't, if it's the temperature thing, like you're saying, therefore resistance, etc., you know, there's certain things that could probably be done conditionally to overcome that, and that becomes very interesting.
Yeah, I know that underwater welding, it has like an inert gas surrounding the arc welding. Oh boy.
Well, they have flux. They have their flux coated arc rods, right? So you know, when the arc sparks up, the first thing that goes um is the flux, and the flux is going to create gases.
Ah. So it's not MIG welding down there; it's stick welding.
Yeah, it's always arc welding.
I'm sorry, it's always what?
Yeah, it's always arc welding.
Yeah,
Stick
stick arc.
welding.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. I think somehow I lost my sharing. Sorry, I think I'm sharing videos with you, and I'm not. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for your input, and there's a whole lot more cool stuff, but those are the two big things that got me excited. What I found out too, though, what gets me all excited is probably less climatic. But when I look at something that's boring, you guys seem to think it's interesting. So um, I'll put the rest of my experiments in a better order. And then I'd like to do this forum again, Nathan, if you're okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're good.
Anytime, bro.
Yeah.
I had a blast. Thank you, guys. All right.
So real quick, Shawn, I know you probably got to go soon. I want to let everybody know I sent Shawn some Tesla coils, so he's going to be doing some experiments here. Not right away, but in the next few weeks after he gets done with what he's doing.
Right
I'm
on.
excited for those.
I'm so excited. Just arrived, and fortunately, I get to go to Florida for 10 days with the wife, but I'll only be able to just look at Nathan's stuff and daydream until I get back. I mean, if I tried bringing it with our vacation, she'd have me hold the ground wire with my teeth.
Huh. Oh man.
So
No, it's all good, man. I just want to say that, and Bernie's on his way to Las Vegas right now. He's going to go meet up with Steve from Tesla Tech, and they're doing some live stuff out there. So
Nice.
yeah, some cool stuff going on. Later on Traveling Fools channel, I'm going to do my live lab. You can see it behind me. I got a bunch of stuff over there to test. Okay, coils, all kind of cool stuff. And do some one wire energy. So yeah, we're gonna see what I can't get to shoot plasma and what I can, and where I mean, what I can get to light up things and the cool stuff, and show how dielectrics actually work. So it'd be kind of a cool thing, man, for everybody to see. Put my hands in some water, you know what I mean, with some electricity, freak people out. You know what I mean? So,
Cool
and
stuff.
I got my ZVS going on there right now, and then we can always switch over if we wanted to the PNP. But the last time I ran the PNP, I basically made an EMP in my garage twice.
yeah,
So I shut everything down. Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, but it's kind of cool.
All right.
topic on that topic of EMP. I used the stainless steel plate on purpose because if I put copper or aluminum, I create an EMP device. When the RAV forms, I create an EMP device that just starts, turning off and on all of my equipment. So yeah, so that's maybe just a tip for you, Nathan.
What'd you do again?
I use a stainless steel bowl because if I use a copper plate or aluminum plate, it turns into an EMP. It basically disrupts all of the um, uh, equipment that's sensitive to electromagnetic pulses. It becomes a disruptor, literally, when you put a copper plate under it.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna have to test that safely, I think.
I got a really cool camera refraction that you guys could take apart if you want. I have it playing here.
Oh,
It's
okay.
pretty crazy.
Oh, I love it when we make that. Look at that.
You guys are good at this. Tell me if it's big.
Yeah, it looks fine.
Yeah.
See all the
Going back
colors
up.
and everything. Oh, it just immediately dropped. You see that?
Yeah, I kept bumping my camera, so my tripod. I usually have my tripod in front of me, so I'm always knocking it.
Yeah,
But I thought this,
it's still moving though, even when you're not bumping it, which is signal for not a lens flare too, because
oh,
it's reactive to the it's the environmentally reactive. You know.
ah, I just thought you guys go
Is
have a
a
hate.
lens flare not a lens flare, as we've discussed previously? I don't want to open that can of worms again right now.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Right there. Hold on. That's a
Oh,
cool shot because there's green behind the pink. It's like a lens, but you can see shape behind it.
yep.
That's really cool.
There's some colors, really pretty colors.
Huh. Yeah, you see the backside of it. Yeah, exactly.
There's a video of those I can't remember the name now, but the little creepy crawlies grow on the bottom of this ceramic tube.
Oh, hold on. Stop right there. Stop right there.
Sorry.
Okay.
You want me to go
Look.
back?
No, right there's fine. Just leave it. I just want to point something out to people out there in their camera effects.
Uh-huh.
This thing's pointing. It literally has the green ball with the purple right over top of it, but you see the center of it go green, which we saw the backside was green in the other video. We know
Mhm.
that structure is green. It's lensing or microscope kind of lens straight
Mhm.
down to the next one where you can see it. It looks like one of those little racket things that you whack across to each other over a net. Okay,
Oh,
like a
badminton.
little birdie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
you can
does.
see a direct line. So anytime you hit play, I'm telling you, there's a direct line from it. It's focusing that area. You know what I mean? They don't come out of alignment from each other, no matter where they go. And there's a spherical structure that structures around both of them. You can see it. It's faint, but you can see it.
It's so crazy cool. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. All right.
Kind of.
I don't want to get into the flare stuff right now, to be honest, because I'll go on and on and on. And it's not. Yeah. We're too far in.
Can you
But what also it looks like, by the way, is like is a staff from a church. You see the center of the RAV how it goes out, and then the ring that's around it's gold, and it all blasts out of the gold in the center, and then you have a golden staff underneath it.
Yeah,
You're
does.
getting some cool stuff out of here.
What's
Thank
the
you.
width? Oh, that's smoke or something or steam, because there's some
That's what I wanted
pretty
to show
odd
you.
stuff. Yeah.
This is we used to call fractal snow. I call it a transient cathodic condensate. Type 1, because when you turn the power off, it goes away. Type 2 is it's permanent. We get the permanent structures built on like lava rock. We get these these only when the power's on, we get these growing. But I'll tell you two things about it. Watch it, because it's not there. See? And then all of a sudden, watch it grow. It just starts, it's like assembling.
Well, look at the red ring.
Right. It's
Oh no,
assembling,
that's your
but
line.
you can see the color building out. The
Yeah,
color's building out where it's about to come to be.
Oh, that's
yeah.
interesting.
It's literally building out of light.
It's building a laser out of it. Is what it's doing. It
Okay, now it's growing on both
it
sides.
works just like a laser pointer. It's gonna focus the light.
Oh, this is good. So this is a 1 centimeter brass ball. It's the anode. This is a little piece of red clay. This tube here is a ceramic, silica ceramic. This is about 3 centimeters in diameter, 2.5, 3 centimeters. I'm not centimeters, millimeters. The stuff that grows here always grows at the cool part, and then it meets the hot part. This little ridge here, for some reason, grows those little creepy crawly, fractal snow. I call them, the TCC. Here's the important thing. This has to be a material, a certain material like clay or lava rock, or you'll never create these structures around. And
Okay, well, Sean, before, real quick, because I'm gonna lose it.
okay.
When things build out dendritically, okay, like the fractal snow does, okay,
Mhm.
that dendritic formation is always a cold reaction. Okay, it can only structure in its lowest potential energy state of whatever it is. Okay, now sometimes it forms in actual cold, but you got to remember that cold is relative. Okay, so it's going to form like at the coldest um uh or the I shouldn't say the coldest, at the lowest temperature that it breaking apart and reforming could possibly happen. Okay, it would usually need a greater temperature to structure, but it is doing so, and it's doing so dendritically because it's being forced into the configuration below its crystallization temperature. So everything would need a certain, like a temperature or range of variables in order for crystal to form. This is allowing it to drop below that because it's doing so virtually, and it's doing so virtually by the energy exchange, the transient electrons, okay, that are being returned through the system to the low energy state. That's how that's going down. That I'm pretty certain about.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Sean,
Mhm.
you keep moving forward on this. Go back a little bit. Right there.
Here.
Oh,
There.
just right there.
Okay.
Directly behind it, you can see the dark structure. It's a sphere.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, this right here.
You're on the wrong side.
Wrong side. Is it opposite? Is this it?
Right down, down. Right there. Now, remember when we built this out before, you had the big tube and you had the dark side structure go on the opposite of it.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting the same thing. It'll continue to show up opposite that, the pink one.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's exactly. But it looks kind of gray though to me.
Oh, yeah. It's not it's not dark per se, like no energy. It's an energy exchange. The portion that gets the light is to the front, and then the other exchange of energy goes to the back. It's like a symbiotic circle that it makes between the both.
Yep,
Mm,
that's exactly what it is.
So
wow.
it's always there. You just have to look for it in your pictures.
And it's probably happening in a lot of places I just haven't thought of.
Yeah,
Very
but this is when they say, there's a plasmoid out there, and you look out there outside the Earth, and you go, no, there's not. Well, did you see the dark one like this?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because things have balance. So it's just interesting because if you look at one of those in a perfect situation and you think of the pink thing as the moon and you see it swirl, then you could see the ring that goes around it that it builds on. If that rotates around the Earth, it tells you exactly why the moons would be held in to the same area the entire time. It's
That
like a
makes
hula hoop went around it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wanted you guys to poke at one more picture.
That one is awesome, by the way.
Oh,
But
this
you
one.
notice your center's off. I don't know if you noticed that in that picture already.
Oh yeah.
Your big ball that builds out, the center of it is in between the pink structure and the RAV.
That's a lava rock. Lava rocks give me the biggest RAVs, and they build the permanent dendritic and coral-like shapes. They're permanent, so they're not solid structures though. They're kind of like laid particle by particle, and it's like a fine dust, but it's shaped. It has shapes when you turn off the power.
Yeah. And the shape is that of the magnetic field. It appears.
Oh, is yeah, I didn't think about that. I would have thought that it'd be the shape of the electric field, but I'll have to. Yeah, that's interesting.
But remember that magnetic field is not a property of the RAV; it's an emergent property of the entire interaction.
Hmm.
The same as the Earth's magnetic field isn't created by virtue of the Earth and the Earth alone. It's the byproduct of the relationship with the environment.
Oh, yeah.
So what's in there, Sean?
It's filled with tiny glass balls.
Okay, figured something was in there.
Yeah, they're from my electric experiments. This is just an epic fail, but I'm just kind of giving you guys a little flavor of all the little goofy things I'm doing that we don't have to overanalyze, but they're kind of cool looking.
It's
Oh,
like
I love
silica
it.
gel.
Say again?
It's like silica gel.
No, pure glass balls.
Silica
So
gel might be cool, but now that I'm thinking about it, though, I'm just
yeah, I just I don't have enough current to really go through that and those balls and do something fun.
You
I
got a
just
brown spot building in behind your balls.
I'm surprised, Sean. If I got through a piece of quartz, I'm surprised it's not doing it.
No, I mean, I'm being serious though. It looks like something got fried.
it's annoying. It just looks like a turd experiment. Oh, you made a brown turd. Awesome.
You know what though? There is hope for this though, Sean.
Uh-huh.
Take it and put it in slow motion. You're going to see all the lighting effects.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of them going on there.
Yeah. Well, you made those glass beads shit themselves. Oh, check that out. Oh, that's a filter. Oh, that's a filter. No, I was like, what the hell am I? When did it turn that on?
It's like radioactive.
Yeah. So, I'll turn
Yeah.
in the Incredible Hulk. I've been trying to add a shade 5 welding lens because the RAV is so white you can't see it, but here you can obviously see it's a sphere. So I kind of thought, oh, that's cool. It's not just arcing and sparking.
That is cool.
Oh yeah, that is. Look at that.
Just to show you how hard it is to get glass to melt the way you want it. This is a epic fail.
You got to leave that lens over it for a little longer so
Yeah,
you
I
can
should.
see if there's effects there.
Yeah, you're right. Never get tired of the glass and the water. I don't know why. It just has a peaceful sound. Knowing that the glass has nothing to do with the water is just so strange to me.
What it looks like it's not forming the RAV until you get a dry spot.
Oh, let me pull up a real simple one.
Look at that. That looks awesome.
Yeah, the lava rocks. Let me see if we
Yeah,
can
watch.
wait till
You
it's
gotta.
dry.
You got to get that one with the welding filter because you can see the entire perimeter and stuff.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, all good.
The glass cracks because I let it get really hot and then I drip cold water on it, and only quartz will survive it. All these other glasses, they hate it. When the 4D Julia set is complete, this is what it looks like when it comes up.
Mhm.
You guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
This is the paper clip I bend as the cathode, and it just doesn't miss a molecule. It reshapes the entire piece of glass tube, the entire tube. Oh, here's a quartz tube. Quartz tubes are indestructible. I think this is where I get the water RAV. Yeah, I do in this one. This is another way to get the RAV in water. Should be.
Yeah, no, that looks like I expected, and that's what I was talking about, Sean.
Wow.
Yep. There you go, Deadfish. That one's for you, buddy.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said that one's for Deadfish. This is what he wanted to see.
Oh, he did? Okay. Look at that. Now this is something that I wanted your input on, okay? Because though there was a white stream of plasma, this lens flare was not there. But then as the RAV formed, boom, the lens flare tells you in this white mess is a RAV spinning. Isn't that cool? It's my RAV detector if I have a messy plasma like this.
I need to take some time with these videos and break them down and do the thing.
I'll take a representative video of everything, Nathan. Do like 10 videos. I'll send them to you over Messenger.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. There's just something cool about this.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Right? And electrolysis, a bottom flaring. You could see the back and forth between the sides. That's cool.
It's cool that the water and the heat net stresses the quartz can take it because that's pretty hot.
Well, you got to remember all the stress that you're adding to the quartz creates, a potential, and because you have energy that's in vector motion with an electromagnetic field, that's enough to put the stress potential of the quartz into current state.
Mm.
So, I mean, that's kind of the idea that I'm thinking.
Yeah. This glass is completely connected, except for when you see the orange of the cathode, it appears in the cracks. I don't understand why it does that. Because this should just be pure white and groovy. But because of that little crack, we have this little cathode action going.
Well, because it's saturated, you know, it at the gap, it finds itself as like a spark gap.
Yes.
Yes,
No,
yes, the
you
gas
solved
comes out
it.
of the crack.
You solved it. Gas comes out of the crack.
Mm.
Well, it
When you're
sparks
high,
when you light it, yes.
all right.
You guys are awesome.
You're funny.
Oh, look at that, in and out.
That look, it's
Oh.
starting to rav on that piece of wood.
Dude, it went right through your wood.
Yep.
Oh, it does that. Arts be doing things like that. Like how
Yeah.
it shot me through my book the other week.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's paper.
It's just, where do you get a glass ball that you bounce around on? Electricity's going through it, but it doesn't. You're not seeing the outtake. That blows my mind. This thing's just getting covered.
All right, guys, while we're watching this, I just want to remind everybody that we put out the Resident Art Vortex video, and it's a really good video. I'm going to paste it into the chat. You guys should go and check it out. It's got a lot of cool insights into what we're doing here if you want to learn how we got there from the beginning. It covers the beginning and how we first thought of it, onto formation of it, and then how we tracked it and looked at it and put sensors on it. So
Yeah, and it's a new video series that we're doing called Plasma Unleashed, and that's the first episode of the series. So it's definitely a good place to start.
yeah.
And I just want to say that it's like a 20-minute documentary, but it's so good that at the end of the video you're going, oh man, it's so good, I want to watch more. So it's just well done. Nathan, Joe, well done.
And you
Thank
too,
you.
Sean. Thank you.
Yeah, Sean, you're all over that thing.
All right,
Yeah,
hold on. So listen, before because we've gone long at this point, but I wanted to say something woo. Okay, and it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But you know how we went and stole like Venezuela's illegitimate president over there,
Yeah.
right? Maduro. And you hear about this operation that they did, and they started talking about some of the stuff that they used during the operation, technology-wise, right? And then you hear some of the eyewitness accounts, right? And all the eyewitnesses that are able to speak, right? They were all like Maduro's closest people, okay? All their accounts line up. And none of them were given to American media or solicited in that fashion. It was like, you know, stuff that was kind of obtained off the side. And several things amazed me and made me think something more than what's being said was up. And this is what they're talking about, right? So we know that they used energy weapons. All right. They knocked out the power. They knocked out the communications. They knocked out the radars and everything. Everything was down. Okay. And then everybody started feeling not all too good, started getting real sick and disoriented, basically fell over. And the survivors' accounts were all the same. They saw maybe 20 operators, they said. All right. And each of these operators seemed to move really fast, shooting 300 rounds a minute or better, it seemed like to them. You know, and that it also seemed like every single time a bang went off from any one of them, somebody dropped dead. Okay. And that and the one thing, and even though these were some of the closest people directly, you know, assigned to the personal detail of Maduro himself, nobody saw us go in and get him. Nobody saw us take him away. All right.
Incredible.
What it sounds like to me is they created time dilation field. And if you're inside the bubble, things are moving like regular, right? And and you're just sitting there like, "Hey, Bill, get a load of this." Boom, and then you shoot a guy, and all of a sudden he's like, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
literal fish in a barrel, I believe, because of the possible time phase differential. And I think that it's quite possible that they took Maduro by popping into his room, grabbing him, popping out of his room, and then being like, "Welcome to Brooklyn." You know, I know it sounds crazy, but like I think that might be a thing.
But it's an extension of the crowd control device. The one that they use to clear all the crowds that just looks like a bunch of speakers.
Mhm.
Yeah, they definitely have it.
Oh,
If you know
wow.
anything about this technology, you know they have it.
And if you know anything about this technology, you know what that could do to time and space.
Oh yeah.
All right. And that
Oh,
starts to make
I
a lot of sense, doesn't it?
I want to share something with you guys. The moon. Okay. I know this sounds weird, but it put out a RAV. Okay, and I don't mean that. I don't want to say it. I ought to show it.
Like in our atmosphere?
So check it out. This is me looking at the moon with my camera. Okay.
Yeah, I see the halo around it. Yeah.
Let me get out of the way.
There are two more halos on the outside of that.
Mm.
So you see the center, the moon is not full, but it looks full there. Okay. There's also a ring around the moon. Okay. That goes right there. There's a giant ring. And when I tell you a giant ring, when you look up at the stars and stuff, if you take a picture, you can usually get a couple stars in there, you know what I mean? Or like the Big Dipper or something.
Uh-huh.
This ring was larger than any of those structures as we see them from our point of view on the ground. So you can fit 2, 3, 4 Big Dippers in here for the size that we're looking at. Obviously, it's a relationship value, but I'm saying from where we were standing, you could fit 3 or 4 of them in there, no problem. It was
Hey, I know it
huge.
sounds bananas, dude, but once you realize that the sun is the equivalent of the 4D high energy potential virtual object, and the moon is the low density, vortex, more or less, like the low density, like accumulation zone. I'm not saying that the moon's a vortex. I'm just saying that that's how it accumulates, is in that nucleus of the center of it, right? Well, what does that make the Earth? It makes the Earth the RAV. And you got to remember that not like all things are relative, right? Like we're making a hot RAV out of plasma, but realistically, all the RAV is the energy exchange center between high energy and a low energy opposites. And this exchange, we know the relationships that exist.
One thing I wanted to
that
share.
right off to the bottom.
Hold on. Look at the little arrow in the middle.
At the same distance, proportionally.
Okay, there's 4 different pictures where that little dot goes changes. It's moving as I clip the pictures. I'm pushing the button one after the other. Okay. To get the pictures here, that little object moves, but it looks like a satellite from a RAV.
It does.
So
is the atmosphere like giving a kind of lens effect, or
you see,
atmosphere ionized. It is plasma.
It just moved to the one side and back. There. There's something there. You'll have to check them out on your own, but I'm just saying that little dot moves.
How far apart were these pictures taken?
Like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that.
Okay, so something's zipping around.
Yeah, something's going fast. And
Yeah.
it ain't no airplane. Let me tell you that. No
Well, I
way.
saw what it did. It did this.
Yeah. I'm just saying, there's something going on, guys. It was humongous up in the sky, and there were layers that went on it. And then for the next 2 days out in California, we had no clouds. Where I live, there was not a cloud in the sky.
Wow.
So who knows what it was? Who knows why? I'm just saying that it was there.
Very cool. I had a graphic I'd like to share before I head out.
Yeah. Let me take this down.
Let me get it. Oh,
It was just ironic the day that we premiered the RAV video that shows up in the sky.
that is so cool. I don't know if that's irony.
Yeah.
And, it won't let me go.
Nice.
What I tried to do here is compare the RAV and its lens flare to the magnetosphere that Nathan pointed out, and I think I found a correlation I wanted to share with you guys, and it's gonna be right here. Here we go. I'll share my screen. I'd love your input because this was pretty interesting. I did it with AI, but I spent a lot of time trying to get it right. Oh. Sorry, guys. There we go. Let me know when you guys can see that.
Yep.
Yep, we can see. Know the story there. Yeah.
So I put kind of a star background and kind of just did some formatting, but this was the language that I really worked for. Is the lens flare is not a random artifact here. It's a quiet amplifier of symmetry, just as auroras sketch out the outline of the Earth's magnetosphere without being the magnetosphere itself. The flare sketches the presence, balance, and stability of the RAV as it forms within a sea of white plasma. So we cannot see the magnetosphere of the Earth with our eyes, but when there's a flow of light from the sun, solar wind, it then gives us the aurora borealis or the northern lights, and that lets us physically see the invisible magnetic field. But the aurora is not the magnetic field. It's just letting us see the magnetic field. In the same way, this lens flare is not the RAV, but it's the movement of light to let us see what's inside the RAV. Does that make sense?
That's correct, Shawn. And you know, that is the direct relationship as well. Okay, with where you look at this phenomena from, because, like you said, from Earth's perspective, it manifests as aurora borealis. But look at it from the perspective that you're seeing on your screen. If you look at it from the outside and realize you are not on the surface of the RAV, you are outside the RAV, right? Just like if you were in outer space looking at the Earth, you would see that phenomena, pardon me, entirely different. You know, and the way you would see it is like it's shown. And these are the same geometries, and that's what we were trying to explain. Now, how I've said before that it represents um, the high energy state, right? Well, yeah, that's exactly what this is showing. You know, is that the high energy state is actually coming at it. You know, and that's representative of not only the one thing, but the culmination of the both in interaction with one another and their exchange. And that's the beauty of it. And you hit the nail right on the head, man.
Okay, hold on. Look at where your anode is and your cathode is. Now put it on the north pole and south pole of the actual Earth. Then they'll start to align properly. Okay? But what that also means is the sun is putting out a field that's a circle that goes right through the center of our planet and through it. That's why there's a line that goes there. It's vortexes on both sides. But that also shows that in the anode cathode setup, as you had a vortex going both sides of it, meaning the only thing we're missing is mass on the outside for that field to shape properly 100% to the field of the Earth, which means the things build out in spheres of energy from the sun, and we're on one of those lines that it comes into in that sheath zone from the sun. Okay? And it does it to all the planets, and depending on where it hits is your rotation rate and everything else in the spin that goes on in it. And we have a wobble on our Earth. It's not random. We have a wobble in the sun. The sun wobbles as it rotates, and it shows in our when you see all of the planets spin like this, you'll see the wobble show up, and it'll make geometric patterns when it does. But it shows perfectly exactly how it works. And then if you take the picture on your left, which is the Earth, what they say is there's a plasmoid that builds out beyond the part where they come together right there. It swirls back over each other and creates a loop. You know what I mean? And then comes back, and there'll be like a little plasmoid. But you have the same thing in the black structure in the backside of this one. So you'd have the moon and the back structure, you know what I mean, building on each other so that they're equal.
That's exactly it, Nathan, man. You hit it on the head. And that's what I was saying before about the the eddy currents that create these wells. They create these vortices that create a well in the center of a high and low energy state through vortex shearing. You know, and that's exactly how these things come to be, man. And there's a direct feed to that from that high energy well to the Earth, and that feed is not. It's first of all, it's reverse flow. And it's not really detectable, but it's there.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It means that it's quantum, right? No, it's not quantum. It's just fourth dimensional or higher.
Yeah, I don't think it's quantum. I just think it's an energy we don't recognize.
Exactly. And real quick, I just want to give a shout out to my friend John in the chat. You know, I see him over there, and he's a buddy of mine from Texas. So I just want to say hello to him.
Lana.
Hello. Glad you can join us.
Yeah, there's a lot more there, Sean.
You want me
It's
to keep
funny
it
how
up?
it all works out. What would be cool is if you took the picture on the right and superimpose it over on the picture on the left without the lens, without the sun flare.
I've
And
done
put it
that,
right over it.
Nathan. I already have those photos. We've done that. I can send it to you.
Yeah, it's. Well, what I'm trying to make a point is it's going to be a very interesting picture when you pull it out because of where the pink object's going to end up and what's there. You know what I mean? Because it'll start to align with the moon. It's funny because they said, what does it take? 7 days for for God to make everything. So get ready, because if you run this thing for a long time, who knows what you're going to get.
We're getting to the level of some creation of planetary system events.
So say if it starts getting from light to plasma to solid, you know what I mean? It may take that long. So it's just an interesting thing. Nobody runs this stuff for a long time. They run it for 2 to 3 seconds and shut it off.
Well, ironically, about the 7, if you count where the that solar deflection line is, and then you count those bands, and then you consider the Earth's upper atmosphere as one, you have 7 bands to this field. So yeah, I'm not saying that's correlated, but it's funny how things tend to align that way.
I don't know. Plasma doesn't seem to change much. Just the environment does, and that changes the experiment. So space may not be as empty as they keep saying it is. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think they're wrong on that one.
This is a photo of I trapped the RAV in a water, in the water, and you can see, if I can zoom it in. Can't make it bigger. You can see the RAV has created a little bubble, and it's kept the glass dry and clean, and it's kept itself dry and clean. And then it has this downward force, so it should be disruptive. But it's not. So I write my notes on some of these screenshots in Goofy.
I think that's awesome.
It is so awesome. Guys, I had a blast. Thank you, Nathan, for letting me come at like 15 minutes notice.
Oh yeah.
You're wonderful. Guys, I wasn't planned on being tonight, but I was feeling good health-wise and wanted to share. So thanks for listening. It's great to see you guys all in the chat. Much love to you all. And anything else I can do for you guys before I head out?
No, brother. You went extra innings tonight, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You guys have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Shawn. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
All right, man. I think we're about time to close it up too, Joe. I got to get ready to start up my lab.
I think so. We've gone 3 hours strong, and I know that we have our next episode to also work on because I know we want to get those episodes out too. So
yeah, I was thinking about that. I kind of want to get them. I don't know, every 3 weeks to 4 weeks. I don't know how you are about that. Somewhere around there.
we'll see how it works out. We don't want to keep people waiting too long because there's a lot of material to cover. But
yeah, well, I can go every 2 weeks if you wanted to.
yeah, I think we could do something like that, but we'll figure it out. I think that the video definitely brought some new faces, into the conversation, and
Yeah.
That's always good. And I think it's more structured too. It gets to we have a point to make, and we committed to making those points in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And making it clear, concise, showing it, explaining it, and being on with it, on to the next thing, subject.
Oh yeah. No, I thought it came out really good.
It's dead on, man. That's the way it's got to be done. Because not for anything, but even if you just stumbled upon us today, you could be extremely fascinated with everything that you're seeing and hearing, and just have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's a big ask to be like, so go back into the archive and figure it out through these abundance of 3-hour-long podcasts.
Yeah.
It's a necessary thing, I'd have to say.
No, and then I like the way that we structured it, because I want to do my free energy series of like the Bedini motor, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The stuff like that. Do it the exact same way in documentary style, in building and stuff. You know what I mean? From here on out on the channel, no more just random videos and stuff. I'll put that on the member side, but I think that's the ticket, man. Is to get it to go like that, and then that way we can get a nice cohesive picture of what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So, all right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. I just want to say thank you to Darren out there. You got a $20 super sticker. I also want to say thank you to Darren again. He gave 5 old men builds 5 old men builds memberships to us, man. Thank you very much.
Right on there.
Everybody out there that got a membership, man, congratulations. Hope you enjoy it. There's some cool stuff we just uploaded for Bernie's lab setup and stuff out there. So there'll be a little bit more of that coming out soon. So,
yep. Also, don't forget to visit the Shopify store. Check out Nathan's Tesla coils. The artwork that I put up there, limited edition, still many pieces available. And I know that we have some really cool T-shirts and stuff. And seeing that we came out with a new series, I'll make sure that we get some new designs out there too for
Oh,
for the
we
new,
need
for the
some.
new series. Yeah,
We need some RAV t-shirts. There you go for
get some
sure.
rad shirts, get some built research t-shirts out there, right?
Yep. Right on. All right, guys. Have a great night.
All right, peace and love. Till next week.
The old man built. The old man built. The old man built. The old man built. The old man builds is broken in the head. People not seeing reality has put them in the red. Where conscious and spirituality been stricken from the norm and replaced with the ignorance of basic magnetic form. The geometry of God keeps running through his head. That's what makes old man builds broken in the head. The old man builds. The old man builds. Spheres of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds.